Courtney Marie Andrews is a singer-songwriter who has been at it for quite some time. I have never discovered any of her work up until this new album right here. She dabbles in country, folk, alternative rock, a bit of pop at times too, alternative country, Americana. I know some of those genres are going to make you go, oh, yeah, I'm not interested now. But I don't know, just try and open your mind, okay? I know it's not the most hip thing right now, and I know there are a few people that probably don't care for country out of all the genres out there, but I just feel like you're shielding yourself away from all the great records that you could be listening to. And yeah, even I'm doing that because I'm ridiculously late to this album. This album came out like 23rd of March. We're in May. Yeah, I mean, I'm a sucker for this too. And I guess I see where the argument comes from with that Casey Musgraves album, with the whole, like, well, you don't like this, it's not real country music, not real music. Because, of course, not too long before that Casey Musgraves album, which I still love, there was this fantastic release from Courtney Marie Andrews. May Your Kindness Remain is a very traditional sounding album, which at first made me disinterested, I'm not going to lie. I didn't really think too much of the instrumentation. I thought the vocals were kind of standard for the genre, and I guess musically overall I wasn't really that excited by much what that was going on. But I was, of course, foolish. I mean, I've listened to this many times now, and it has grown on me heavily. I think this actually might go down as like a top tier singer-songwriter album of the year. Top 5, I would predict from this point. I mean, even if you take away the music, which obviously still is very traditional and still is very built in its roots, but I mean, you've got to listen to these lyrics, man, because there are some fantastic songwriting elements on this album. May Your Kindness Remain is very confessional, it's very raw in its honesty, and Courtney Marie Andrews to me just comes across as the most wisest person you could ever imagine. She just generally tells things as she sees them. She really knows how to just read a person, and just understand the sort of like good and bad in things, and even in herself. You know, she says on the track Rough Around the Edges how she's quite flawed. She needs to learn to keep her mouth shut, and she's just basically understanding that, yeah, you know, I'm a little bit rough around the edges. And in a relationship sense too, she sort of recognizes that she might let the person down, you know, but she doesn't necessarily believe in herself. She believes in the person though, and that's just really confessional, like in the best kind of way. Like, there's so many people that wouldn't really push themselves to the bottom but then heighten the other person and yet still be very wholesome at heart. And even musically, this is definitely my favourite track on the album. The opening track musically as well is just so gorgeous. I mean, I just love the way the track just sort of soothingly moves along. It's just like a breeze. I mean, it just sounds gorgeous. I really do love it. I do also love how she's like, you know, giving advice, you know, like, may your kindness remain, even though all these things may not keep you happy or for the rest of your life. You know, your good looks will fade, your money will run out, but like, you know, may your kindness remain. The closing track is like 6 minutes long. Musically, I think it's stellar. Honestly, it goes a little bit into a more like a heartland rock type feel to it, and yeah, I mean, it doesn't really stray too far away from what she was doing previously on the album, but it does feel slightly different enough to make it such an excellent closer to this kind of album. Perhaps the album does fall into a few lyrical cliches. I mean, Kindness of Strangers, as much as I do really like the track, I do really like it, I just think it falls into some you know, obvious lyrical territory. You know, she says things like people come and go, getting by on the kindness of strangers. Doesn't really amount to too much. I kind of would have liked a bit more of a payoff with that song, to be honest. But a track like this, House, just feels so wholesome in its lyrical content. I mean, just the whole idea, like, you know, just dedicating a house to, like, our home just feels really lovely to me. Like, I just don't really feel like there's anything to critique when it comes to that kind of thing. You know, you can tell by the way she's talking in this song, you know, this other person is like far away, not really around, but they just in the back of her mind, like, yeah, you know, this is always gonna be our home though, and it just feels like so just from the heart. And although it's not really the most interesting lyrical topic, I just feel like Courtney Marie Andrews has this way of just selling something to feel so much more beautiful than it is. And she knows how to write a brilliant song too. I mean, holy shit, I've Hurt Worse. Jesus Christ, I mean, you would just think, why is she saving this house for that person based on these lyrics? I mean, she's essentially just talking all about the like horrible things that this other person does to her, lying, never listens to her when she's talking, arguing all the time. She says as well that she has to call a second time, and she's wondering, you know, oh, are you even with me or what? And yet she still devotes her love to this person, and it's kind of crazy. It's like, wow. I mean, it's just unbelievable, but I feel like it's so relatable for a lot of people. I mean, she expresses on the chorus, which basically sells this entire song and ties it up in just one line and says, like, Mother says to me that we accept the love we think we sort of deserve. Which you may be thinking, oh yeah, that's that line from that Perks of Being a Wallflower song. But that is one of the most honest things I think I've heard from a film or even this song, because I think it is genuinely true. You see it all the time. People low self-esteem get with people that treat them like shit because they feel like that's what they are deserving of. And being able to confess that and put it to a song is quite brave. Like, I don't think anyone who just bypasses this song without looking into the lyrics would credit her for doing that. But like, you really do have to think, like, wow, this is incredibly heartbreaking and confessional. And much of the lyrics on this album are very confessional. I feel like she just gives you it as it is. And I don't know, I don't think there are many albums out there this year anyway, that are quite as brutally honest as this. I just feel like sometimes we need that brutal honesty, and I think this album in particular, certainly gives you that. And it's something I find rare in a lot of music, to be honest. I guess doing this channel makes you listen to a lot of music and a lot of it ends up kind of being meh. But then you find something like this and it's actually quite like, okay. And for anyone that doesn't really care too much about country, honestly, just question yourself a little bit on how much you focus on the lyrics, because this album is incredibly lyrical, equally as lyrical as some of the critically acclaimed albums of the past year or so that have been, you know, sort of like stamped as critically acclaimed and lyrical, you know. And yet, what's different about this album? I don't know. Maybe the music isn't interesting to you, but just give it a try. I think you're gonna find something from this. And yeah, that is it. I don't have too much else to say. Great friggin' album. Grew on me quite a bit. I'm gonna go B+. That is all. I hope you enjoyed this review. Let me know if you listen to this album, what your thoughts are on this album, and if you take my recommendation and you enjoy it afterwards, let me know. That'd be pretty cool. Subscribe to the channel for more reviews, comment and all that. Tell me what I should review next. This is a pretty old album, I guess, in the context of the year. A couple of months ago now, but still worth talking about, and I hope you do listen to it if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel. Goodbye. Have a good day. Goodbye.